What is up, everybody? This is Alex the Boogeyman here, midweek with the Midweek Musing. I got a pop quiz for you, hotshot. How many different punches are there in boxing? You have 4 seconds. The answer to it really kind of depends on who's teaching you, because people have different considerations of what a punch is or how many punches there are. Sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, there's only 6 major punches. But I would break it down a little bit more than that. Now, of course, you could break it down as granular as you want. You know, punches can come from any angle, who knows. But it's important to distinguish the different strikes because they use different energy systems. They have different strategical values. So at that point, we want to break them down a little bit more. It doesn't mean we want to turn them into punches. But we want to make sure that we understand the differences between them. So, of course, the jab cross is pretty standard, right? You're throwing straight punches right down the middle. You're going to the face by default, punching somebody like right between the eyes. But, of course, we can throw the jab cross to the body. Drop our weight down, throw those punches to the body. The body in boxing is anywhere below the neck, but usually we want to distinguish. We're going low. We're trying to push the hips back on the jab cross. So a jab cross to the face and a jab cross to the body are different punches. I mean, yes, you're doing the same body mechanic, but the dropping down is critical because it's critical for getting your head out of the way, also hitting that target. You don't want to punch down at a downward angle. You want to punch straight across, hit them in the body. Talk about that all the time. We have hook punches, right? Hook punches come around the side. Circular punches. If somebody has their hands up, you go around their hands, hit them in the side of the jaw, the side of the temple. That's why we throw hook punches. And we want to make sure that we keep this elbow up so that it goes around so that it's not easily blocked by the other person. Now we can throw hook punches to the body as well. Similar mechanics, right? We'll drop our hands, hitting the ribs, but it's still, I would consider that a different punch, throwing hooks down to the body. Uppercuts, which come up, the default being to the chin, as always. Even if you're hitting a bag, talk about that all the time, you can still throw uppercuts to the chin. And you can also throw uppercuts to the body. You still want to get that lift on it, but it's a different target. It's a different thing. When you throw an uppercut to the body, you're putting yourself at pretty good risk here. You're wide open, so you got to make sure you're in close. It's a good time to do it, and the opponent's not about to hit you. And we have the overhand. Sometimes I don't understand why everybody doesn't throw more overhands. They're throwing all the time in boxing. Some people say, oh, it's more of an MMA thing. It's not. Just look up boxing highlights. You will see overhands every day. We saw a fight, Jason Maloney and Nakatama, one of the most brutal overhands you'll ever see knockout.
Oh my! That was devastating!
Overhand coming at that downward slashing angle. So it's not a straight cross. It's not a circular hook. It's slashing downward. The angle can change a little bit. You know, some people, going back to MMA, Chuck Liddell, come straight over the top. Some people come just barely around the hook. But nonetheless, the overhand is a very separate punch. It's different to defend. It's different to block. It's different to throw. Now, we don't really have an overhand. You could say there's an overhand left. You will see it. Usually, though, it's not on purpose. It's someone trying to just hit somebody who's ducking down. But it has problems because you are open on your lead side, so you're more dangerous, and it's easy to see it coming and it has a little bit of a windup. So usually we're not gonna practice the overhand left a ton. And we have those 45-degree angle punches as well. These are different, right? If you've got an uppercut comes up, hook comes across, the 45 is somewhere in the middle. And there's a strategical reason to throw these. We talk about the liver shot coming 45 degrees out. You see that all the time in boxing. Once again, we saw a good liver shot knockout just this very weekend. You can throw it on the right side to the spleen. It's different than a hook to the body. It's coming forward 45 degrees through, up and out, instead of going around the elbow. You would hit when the elbow's out here. If they're blocking something on the side, they're open there. There's a different reason to throw it. You can also have the 45s to the head. You don't see it as much, but absolutely, because again, it's easier to block if they have their hands up. But you do see it sometimes, especially if they're expecting one to the body, and then you go up to the head. You don't really throw the overhand to the body. You could. I've seen Triple G kind of turn his over a little bit. It's possible, not something we're really going to practice. But those are the basic punches that I distinguish. You know, you could get into specialties like, right, where there's rising jabs, or, you know, there's leaping lead hooks, gazelle punches, even that bolo punch right into the chest. But for the most part, the basic punches that we practice over and over and over again, because they have strong value. Some of them use more than others, that's true, but they all have good value. They all use different energy systems. They all have different strategy, and they all work you out pretty darn good. So that is my musing. I hope you found it amusing.